Hi everyone, this is Melissa from Melissa Made, and today I'm going to share a little tutorial on how I make gift tags for presents at Christmas time. This is the tag I'm going to be making. I'm going to be using a Whimsy stamp set called Snowman Tidings, and that's the little snowman you see right there. And I'm going to ink up this snowman with some Delicata Sapphire Blue ink. I love this Delicata ink, it's beautiful. This blue color is I can't even tell you how much I love it. It's outstanding. But I'm going to ink it up on this Hammermill 60-pound cover copy paper I like to stamp on. I also like to use it for Copics. And once I'm going to apply a lot of pressure just to make sure that Delicata ink really gets down on that paper. And then I'm going to take my stamp and use a wet wipe and just kind of clean off some of that Delicata. I'm not really big on cleaning my stamps super well, so they seem to be fine though. Now, Delicata will smear immediately after inking it up, so I just like to heat set it to make sure that that doesn't happen. Now, after I heat set this stamp, I'm going to go ahead and take the die from this set from Whimsy Stamps. Again, it's called Snowman Tidings, and I'm simply going to lay the die over the snowman and adhere it with some post-it tape. Now, so you can really see here how pretty this blue Delicata ink is. I think it's my favorite ink ever. I do. The blue is so pretty. It's perfect for Christmas stamps, but it's also going to be perfect for sentiments and other creations as I go forward in crafting. So I like to really take the time to line up dies as best as I can because, once you take the time to ink, you don't want to have to run it through the machine again. And that's why I always put a little bit of post-it tape on my dies. And you'll see most crafters actually like to do this. Now I'm going to move on to the blue paper that I'm going to be using for the background of the tag. And this is a cardstock from Michaels. I think it's Coordinations, and it's called Oceanic. And it's got a little bit of a shimmer to it too. It's very beautiful. And so I just cut a strip of that that's large enough to hold a circle die, and in this case I'm using a stitched circle die from Lawn Fawn. And now I'm going to take these snowflakes from another Whimsy stamp set called Snow Flurry, and I'm just going to adhere those to the block, and I want them close because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some silvery shimmer Delicata, another beautiful color, and I'm going to ink those up and I'm going to stamp those on that oceanic paper so that the snowflakes are close together so that then I can take the circle die cut and die cut that and have kind of a nice collage of snowflakes in the whole circle. And then the snowman is going to sit on top of this. So again, these snowflakes are very pretty, and I like to make sure that with a textured cardstock, I apply a lot of pressure. So you'll see me kind of really pushing down on that cardstock to make sure I get a full impression of my stamps. And I'll do this in all over that kind of bottom portion of that blue sheet, and then I can simply place my circle die over the top and kind of get a nice circle with a number of snowflakes inside that circle die cut. And again, I'm just going to heat set because, like I said, Delicata doesn't dry fast. Heat setting it, helps it so that I don't smear it as I run it through my die cut machine. And again, I'm just going to line up my circle die and adhere it with that same post-it tape as I mentioned before. And I'm going to run both this and the snowman through my die cut machine. So I'm going to tell you a little secret here. Now, the first time I made this tag, I didn't like it. Second time I made this tag, I didn't like it. This is the third time, and I'm actually really excited about how this tag turned out, but you'll see that when I cut out the snowman, I use a Spellbinders die. Here you can see in the background of that circle, you can see the Spellbinders die that I used. I don't like it, but you'll see what happens here. So the next thing I'm going to do is just take my On Point glue from Imagine Crafts, and I'm going to adhere this little snowman to that textured cardstock. I like to use glue for tags for little pieces like this because I want them to stick really well. On point glue dries really fast. It's easy to put on because it's got that nice metal, precision tip on it. And the other thing I like about the glue is that it has a metal pin that goes down in the glue, so you're not going to get a clogged um, glue bottle, which drives me insane. So I love the fact that Imagine, you know, made these glue bottles so that you can stick that little pin down in there and it doesn't clog on you. And then the other thing I like to use is tear-it tape to adhere that circle to the back piece that I made because, again, this is going to go on presents. I don't know how you are at Christmas time, but we travel. Most of our presents end up in the car and off to family functions or, you know, get-togethers with friends or Christmas parties or whatever. And so you want something that's going to be sturdy and really hold together. And I found that tear-it tape is one of the stickiest tapes you can use. You can use a ATG gun or a little strip, one of those little tiny stripper things that put tape onto your card, and those don't seem to always adhere so well. So I like to use tear-it tape. As a matter of fact, I'll show you just how good this is. The other thing I thought maybe I could use foam on this and have it dimensional, but I can't stand foam tape. Foam tape drives me crazy. I haven't found any that I like. It's so hard to get the tape off the back, but with the tear-it tape, it peels right off, so I love that. And you'll see, I stick the circle down, and darn it, it didn't look good at all. The circle behind the snowman was a little bit off, so I decided instead of using that little kind of flower Spellbinders die. I was going to use a large circle die from Spellbinders to go behind the tag. And actually, I liked this look a lot better. So again, I just grabbed some of that Hammermill copy paper and I put the blue tag, the blue part, back on to the white circle, and I didn't even have to use more tear-it tape even after I tore it off of the other tag because it's so strong and adhesive. I thought that was funny and I had to share that with you. And now I'm going to take this Neon Amplify, which is another product from Imagine Crafts, and I'm going to simply put a very thin layer of this. You can see I put a blob and then kind of smear it out on the bottom of the snowman. When you use this Amplify, you don't want to make it too thick because if you make it too thick, when you heat it, you're going to heat the top layer but not the bottom layer, and then it's kind of squishy and you can squish out the stuff that hasn't been heat set. So make sure that when you apply it for something like a snowy ground, you apply it fairly thin. And then I'm just going to go through and add some little snowflakes just because I think the color looks nice. And this Amplify stuff is so much fun. When you heat it, it actually puffs up and it's a little bit hard to see in the video just because I'm not zoomed in. Now when you use Amplify, you should clean off the tip and put the cap on right away because you don't want it to dry out. And then I simply hold my tag down with something that's not going to burn like my fingers, and I put my heat gun fairly close to that Amplify, and you can kind of see it starting to puff up. I think this stuff is so cool, and it doesn't come off or peel off. My kids have been walking by and pushing on it every time I use it. It's fun, it's safe, so it's a lot of fun to put on snowy cards, and I'm sure you could use it for marshmallows and hot cocoa and all kinds of different things. So I really love the effect that it has. It's got some nice dimension, and that with the delicata silver shimmer in the background is really, really pretty. So this is my completed tag. The only thing I want to do now is add a little bit of twine and sheer ribbon, and this is how I can attach it to a present. And so I simply put a loop in it and then stick it through the circle and put the little ribbon points through the circle. You see me just stick it through. This is how I put all my tag ribbons on. And simply in that loop, I'll stick through the, like I said, the points of that ribbon right through that little loop and then pull it tight. And so the last thing I like to do whenever I'm making tags is I like to have a to and from on them. And I usually put that on the back of my tag. So I'm going to use a Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen Black. And this is a S tip. So it's a very fine tip. and I'm just going to put to and from, and then I have my completed tag, and it's ready for a Christmas present. So if you like this project, make sure to visit my blog at melissamade2.blogspot.com, and you'll find more of my videos here on YouTube. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell if you'd like to get notifications. I hope you have a great day.